Excited again to have an opportunity to sit down and talk about our seed statement, which includes sharing the gospel, extending an invitation, embracing new relationships, and doing the work together. And so today we have another opportunity to sit down with Ashley Bigham today, and we are so glad to have her as our guest. And so we're going to just jump right in, as we always do, into the conversation. And so Ashley, I just want to thank you for being with us today on our Seed Stories podcast. And just as we get started, it's always good to kind of get to know those who are on our show. And so would you kind of just tell us a little bit about you and your family and what you guys do?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So I'm Ashley Bigham, as you said, and I'm married to my husband, Jamie, and we have a daughter, Adeline, that's 10. We've been married for almost 2 years. My husband was married before and had a daughter, and so now I get to be a mom, which is a huge blessing. Awesome. And so almost 2 years. I didn't think I was ever going to get married or be able to be a mom, and so I'm so glad for the Lord in that. And I am a house mom at Grace Home, and I've been there almost 6 months. This year in December will mark 9 years in ministry for me. Before I got married, I was from the Hera area and on staff at my church there. And then before that, I was a missionary in Ecuador and lived there in the middle of the Amazon jungle for about 3.5 years. And so, yeah, we have 2 dogs, Pumpkin and Baby Boo. Fall names, because
that's fitting.
Yes, I love fall. And so we love them. We love to garden. We had a huge garden this year, and I got to can lots of stuff. This is my first time canning, so learning all new things in that.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but to me, it was so exciting to be able to do that. And at the beginning of planting our garden, I went around and prayed, like, Lord, let our garden be fruitful. And
that's good.
We had got our first fruits, just the first few potatoes, and we brought them to Travis. And we had texted him when I pulled those first potatoes. I was like, can we bring you our first fruits? And so my husband brought the potatoes to him on a Monday, and he was like, I didn't think you were going to bring them. Like, we want our garden to be fruitful. But anyways,
that's cool.
We love to do that. And it's just a little bit about our family and myself. So
very cool. Okay, so this morning we're going to be talking about embracing new relationships, and so with that said, I just wanted to kind of get an idea of how you see that playing out in your life. I know you guys are new to our church family here, pretty new, and maybe you could share just a little bit of y'all's story on how that has played a part of your life in Blanchard First for this season.
Yeah, I would say being at my old church at Hera, spiritual family relationships were modeled for me really well. I had tons of spiritual family there, and so I know what that picture looks like, right? And so coming to Blanchard, to where I'm relatively new, my husband is from this area, not from Blanchard, but from the Bridge Creek area. Okay. So he's always lived in this area pretty much, but I'm still new. So moving here and trying to build new relationships has been a little bit difficult, but we've just asked the Lord, help us in that. Yeah. And so just a few things that we do. We both disciple men and women in our homes. And so that looks like them coming to our home. My husband does Sunday, I do Monday, and teaching them about, Jesus and doing life on life with each other. And so but I found those women just by asking the Lord and seeking people out, and my husband, the same. We had a block party in our neighborhood in May. Our neighborhood is a little bit smaller, and we had hoped to move, and then that didn't happen. And so we just asked the Lord, how can we enjoy where we live and be the light to our neighbors? And so we made little flyers, and my husband, daughter, and I, we walked around our neighborhood and passed them out. Cool. Went door to door and just, hey, this is us. This is what we're going to do. We'd love for you to come. And so we had the block party, and it was a great time. And tons of people came and sat around and had a great time with each other, just chatting and getting to know one another. And they were like, when can we do it again? And what can we bring next time? And it was really great. And we will do it again when it cools off some,
Sure.
because it was the end of May. And
Oh, yeah.
it was
Summertime
getting
is brutal.
hot. Yeah, it was terrible. But it was really sweet. And from that, there has been fruit. And a gentleman that came to the block party has now been coming to Blanchard First.
Oh, that's great.
And so it has been really great.
Wow, that's such a cool story. And you know, that really just you know, made me think about when we talked about opening up your home. How has opening up your home played into these new relationships that you've had? I mean, I'm sure that's got to be a little scary to bring people in you don't know, but how has that helped in building new relationships with you?
Yeah. So disciple making was modeled for me and Hera, right? I was discipled by someone. She was discipled by someone. I discipled a group of women before I left Hera. And so I had that model. My husband the same. He was discipled, and now he has men. But there's women out there, men and women, who are just waiting for somebody to be like, hey, come on, show me how to do these things. And wanting somebody to invest their life into them, right?
Right.
And so we see Jesus model that. Jesus had a relationship with the Father. He had relationship with his disciples. And then he had friendships, right? And so we need those things modeled for us. And so as I looked for women, and I met this one woman just by happenstance, and was like, hey, do you want to come to my house and let me teach you how to read the Word? And so she came, and then she told me about her friends. And at my old job, I had met this woman who had come into into a clinic, and so I built a relationship with her. I asked her to lunch, and then we just formed a relationship. And then I was like, hey, do you want to come follow me in disciple making? And so, and my husband did the same thing. But putting yourself out there and inviting people to lunch and to just form that relationship. And then, we asked the Lord specifically to send us men and women who would be reliable in that, 2 Timothy 2:2, and invest in reliable men and women who will invest in reliable men and women. And so that's what we're doing.
That's great.
And so, we do life on life with them and build that relationship. And it's, relationships that will last and that are built on Christ and His foundation. And so, and as we build those things, we hope that they will go on to and do that for other men and women.
Right.
So.
That's great. And it's interesting, just talking with you, I hear the fact that most of these relationships that you're talking about are actually outside of like a Sunday morning type of situation. Right. And how has that been the case for you here at Blanchard First? That most of your, just the fact is that it really doesn't happen. And I know that because I'm a pastor here. There's very rarely a time that I really get a chance to connect with somebody in a Sunday morning service. And so, your experience, I assume, is the same, correct?
Right. So the people that we disciple do not go to Blanchard First. We met them outside. One was from a previous job that I had, and then one was from a relationship that I had made out just in the community, and then her other two friends that came alongside too. And so, and the same for my husband. One is our neighbor, and then two men that he disciples are from friendships from a long time ago.
Okay.
And so, none from Blanchard First, and all outside of Sunday morning.
Yeah. That to me, I just think about how, I think that sometimes we think that we can walk into a service and that in that moment we're going to just find those relationships and it's just going to be ready-made and things just happen like that. But just for hearing what you've said, I can see the fact that it takes an investment outside of just being present. I think being willing, like you said, being willing to just start a conversation with somebody, but being intentional about that.
Right.
And that seems to be, from what I hear from you and your husband, that's what you're trying to do. And so it's intentionally living your life with an idea that my main goal is to have relationships for God's glory.
Right.
Not just for the relationship for myself, right? And so that really changes the motive and really kind of gives us a clear picture of why we have relationships in the first place, right?
Right.
And I think that just hearing you say that, just, the light bulb clicked. It's like, hey, that's why we do that. Well, That's really awesome. So I know you talked about a little bit of maybe some difficulties coming in and building relationships. Maybe you can kind of give me some ideas of what have been some hurdles that you guys have had to overcome with your experience here at Blanchard First, because we know it's not always easy to come in and just find relationships.
Right. I would say at first it was a little difficult, and we've been here about a year, and I would still say that it's been just a little bit challenging to build those relationships inside Blanchard First. So, we asked the Lord what He would have us to do, and so we've started serving. We both serve in youth. I teach 6th and 7th grade girls, and my husband teaches 11th and 12th grade boys, I think. And so, getting to serve alongside other people in the church, to serve under Nathan and to build those relationships even with students in the youth. And it's been a lot of fun. I've done youth ministry for a long time, but it's always fun, and to see those girls, grow and to learn, and little light bulbs click off, when things are said. So we enjoy that. We also serve in the food pantry. My husband, his job allows for him to be able to come most times, and so sometimes our daughter will come, and she loves to do that as well. And so it's been hard on Sunday morning, I would say, but we realized that and knew that we needed to be serving as well, and that's how you could build relationships inside the church too. So I would say though that it was probably 5 weeks before someone said good morning to us in a Sunday morning, which was a little bit hard, but we knew that this is where the Lord had us, and it's okay. And that we can also say good morning to people too.
That's good. I appreciate you saying that. That's one of the things that I think as a church we find that right now in our life we're trying to figure out how to be that type of welcoming church. I think we have a heart to be, but that doesn't always play out sometimes. And so we know that there are people that come in every Sunday. We have visitors coming in, and our heart is that we would embrace whoever comes, with open arms. Right. Sometimes we miss people. Sometimes people are nervous to meet somebody new. That's right. And so those are hurdles that we have to overcome as a church. But that's part of our seed statement, and why we talk about this is so that we can realize that, hey, let's put aside those little fears that keep us from acting, and know that God's going to honor it when we do life the way He's called us to. And so that's great. Well, I know that, just hearing your story and what you've talked about with your husband, I'm sure that the Lord has taught you guys some things through this, and maybe you can share a little bit about what the Lord has been teaching you guys through these new relationships, about either Him or yourselves in all this. Yeah.
I would say that the Lord revealed to me a few weeks ago that I have missed the mark in building relationships. There's no reason that I can't turn around to the person behind me and say good morning. And so from that, when the Lord kindly revealed that to me, that I've missed the mark, I have been making a point to at least introduce myself to two new people. They might not be new to the church, and what I found, they're not new to the church, but they're new to me.
Right.
And so there's no reason that I can't turn around to someone or go up to someone and say, hi, my name's Ashley. How long have you been going here?
Yeah.
And, trying to find something, to start that conversation, oh, your dress is so pretty.
Yeah.
Or I see, whatever, just something that I can grab onto to start that conversation. So, and my husband does the same. He's more outgoing, I would say, than I am. If I know you, then I'm fine.
Yeah.
But it's that hurdle of getting over it and the awkwardness. But it's okay, because people are desired to do that too, and maybe it's just a little bit harder for them. But we're made in the image of Christ, right?
Yes.
And He had that, and we do too. It might be further down in there, but it's in us as well.
Absolutely.
And so I would say that I know that I've missed the mark in that. And And so like I said, trying to meet at least 2 new people. I'm reminded of the word where it says in Psalm 68:6, the Lord places the lonely in families and sets the captives free, but the rebellious live in a scorched land. But the first part of that, the Lord places the lonely in families. I was like that before I came to know Christ, and through my old church, I was placed in a family, and so I know that it's possible.
Right.
I know that there's people that are coming into these doors that desire that as well. And if we don't say anything to them when they first come in, there might be a chance that they might not come back.
That's true.
And we need to model, as much as we can, model Christ to them and embracing them and welcoming them, right? Because we know that that's how Jesus was as well.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I love the way you put that, because that's the standard that he set for us when he welcomed
Right.
us in. We didn't deserve it.
That's right.
But he welcomes
Yeah.
us in with open arms.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
right.
such a good word. Well, I definitely appreciate that. I really do also appreciate the fact that you came down and had a moment to sit down and chat with us. And thankful that you and your husband are a part of our church family. My daughter gets to enjoy your class, and so looking forward to many more conversations with you all about just living life together. And so thank you so much, and thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us today on Seed Stories. And we can't wait to share the next one with you. In 2 weeks, we'll have another episode ready for you, and the last one is Do the Work Together. So we're going to have a lot to talk about. Hope that you've been encouraged. Hope that the Lord allows you to have more conversations with others and embracing new relationships, and hope that this is just a springboard for you. You guys have a great day. Great chatting with you today.